At noon, the air shimmered with heat over the Serengeti plains. Golden grass stretched to the horizon, and sparse acacia trees stood motionless amid the dry earth. An elephant was walking through this open terrain. Its massive figure towered above the grass, its trunk touching the ground, its footsteps leaving deep marks in the dusty soil. Everything looked calm and normal for this sunny day. But suddenly, its path was interrupted. Hidden beneath the tall grass was a trap. When the animal's foot landed inside, there was a sharp click. The elephant flinched and jerked backward, kicking up a cloud of dust. Metal arches held it in place, and no matter how hard it tried to break free, the trap would not let go. The wind was still blowing around, but the tension in the air became palpable. After a while, its strength left it. The elephant slowly sank to the ground, breathing heavily. His leg remained trapped in the snare, and his skin was slightly damaged, oozing dark traces. The grass around him was trampled, the ground dug up by his movements. The huge animal lay helpless, only his trunk occasionally touching the dust, as if trying to find support. The sun was high in the sky, warming the golden savannah, when the quiet sound of an engine could be heard in the distance. A rescuer was driving along a flat path in a jeep, checking the area where a herd of elephants had recently been spotted. He knew that traps were often left in this area, and his gaze was alert. Dust from the wheels rose slightly into the air, and the wind carried the scent of dry grass. Suddenly, he noticed movement in the distance, something large and motionless among the golden grasses. He gripped the steering wheel and looked closely. It was an elephant lying on the ground, its leg caught in a metal trap. The rescuer's heart skipped a beat, and he instantly realized that the animal needed help. The car slowed down gently so as not to scare it away. The rescuer carefully got out of the jeep, listening to the rustling of the grass under his feet. He slowly approached the elephant, bending down and assessing the position of the trap. Kneeling down next to the animal, he carefully examined the metal trap and watched the elephant's every move, thinking about how to help it gently. The savannah was still silent, but the tension of the moment was palpable, as if the whole world had frozen in anticipation of what would happen next. The sun was high in the sky, warming the golden savannah, when the quiet sound of an engine could be heard in the distance. The rescuer was driving along a flat path in a jeep, checking the area where a herd of elephants had recently been spotted. He knew that in this. When the rescuer took out his tools, he noticed that nearby, just a few meters away, 5 elephants stood motionless. They stood in the tall grass and silently watched what was happening, their huge eyes fixed on the man. This heightened the tension. His every movement seemed to be under the strict control of the herd. He carefully crouched down next to the injured elephant and picked up the metal trap. The heavy iron did not yield at first. The tools scraped against the clamps, but the rescuer continued to work without losing his concentration. The elephant fluttered its ears and made a quiet, low sound, as if trying to say that it could feel his efforts. The wind carried the dry smell of grass and metal, and everything around seemed to freeze in anticipation of the outcome. After several tense attempts, the trap gave way. The metal clamp loosened, and the rescuer carefully pulled it apart, freeing the animal's leg. He straightened up and exhaled heavily, moving the iron aside. The herd nearby did not move. 5 elephants continued to watch intently, their presence making the moment even more solemn and meaningful. After the trap was opened and the iron hoops were moved aside, the rescuer straightened up and closed his eyes for a moment to catch his breath. But he understood perfectly well that liberation was only half the battle. The elephant's leg was still injured, and without medical attention, the consequences could be serious. He took out his radio and contacted the nearest team of veterinarians, who were on duty nearby. His voice was firm, but it betrayed his fatigue and hidden anxiety. Now everything depended on how quickly help would arrive. The minutes of waiting dragged on. The savannah seemed especially quiet. Only rare gusts of wind rustled the tall grass. Finally, a vehicle appeared in the distance, raising a cloud of dust. The veterinarian's jeep slowly drove up the narrow road, and 2 specialists got out. They were wearing light protective suits and carrying large medical bags. Their movements were calm and confident. It was clear that they were used to working in the field. The rescuer took a few steps toward them and briefly explained the situation, then stepped aside so they could get to work. One veterinarian immediately knelt down next to the elephant, laying out bandages and other materials. The second opened his bag and took out antiseptic, checking his instruments. Their work was coordinated and confident, each step well thought out. The elephant lay motionless, only occasionally breathing deeply, as if he understood that they were helping him. A little further away, behind the grass, stood its herd, 5 huge elephants, like a motionless wall. They watched silently, like guards, and their presence made the moment even more solemn and important. The veterinarians began to bandage the injured front leg. One of them carefully treated the area around the wound, spraying antiseptic, while another slowly unwound a long bandage and began to apply it in even layers. The white fabric was applied tightly and neatly, each turn securely fixing the bandage in place. The elephant breathed heavily, his chest rising and falling rhythmically, but he remained calm, as if he could feel the care in the hands of the people around him. The rescuer stood a little way off and watched the process closely, ready to help at any moment. 5 elephants nearby still kept their eyes on their fellow. Their massive silhouettes stood out majestically among the golden grass, and their presence made the atmosphere special, filled with significance and respect. A light breeze swayed the grass and ruffled the edges of the veterinarian's clothes. In the sunlight, the bandage on the animal's leg glowed particularly brightly, like a symbol of hope. Silence reigned around them, broken only by the sounds of bandages and the breathing of the great beast. When the veterinarians and the rescuer gathered their tools and left, the savannah once again sank into its usual silence. The elephant that had been lying down cautiously got to its feet, still a little unsteadily, but now on its own. Its powerful limbs glided over the soft ground, and each blade of grass, trembling under its weight, seemed to welcome the return of strength. 5 other elephants standing nearby immediately approached and surrounded him, watching intently, as if checking that their kin was safe again. The sound of the wind playing with the golden grass and the soft rustling of the leaves created the feeling that the savannah itself had breathed a sigh of relief. The herd slowly began to move across the plain, smoothly and confidently, and the elephant with the bandaged leg walked among them, feeling the support and protection of his fellow elephants. The bandage on his leg stood out against the bright sunlight, a reminder of the care of humans and the completed rescue mission. The distant horizon and the soft rays of the setting sun painted the grass and the silhouettes of the animals in warm shades, creating an atmosphere of harmony and solemn tranquility. Africa was once again living its eternal rhythm, and every sound, every breeze seemed to preserve the memory of that day when the life of a great elephant was saved. The rescue of this elephant served as a reminder that every human action can change the fate of wild animals. Where cruel traps pose a threat, there is always room for kindness and care. The African savannah is home to thousands of lives, and helping even one animal is a step toward preserving the entire natural world. Thank you for watching until the end. Please like and subscribe to our channel to support us. See you next time.